Yeah, I watched this, which is apparently remake of a remake of a remake. Yeah, it's quite weird how it's I guess this basic sort of idea that they had, which they went along with. There's apparently yet another remake from 2002 that isn't about business at all. So yeah, I haven't watched any other though, so cannot really comment on them. Mm, uh, but yeah, the original apparently wasn't at all like this. Nothing to do with sort of everything that happened here with regards to the switching and such. Apparently, it was just so I'm not sure where the original was the comedy, but for all I know, it's not even comic. Probably is comic. I mean, the premise is comic, I guess. But yeah, since I mean, we wouldn't derive the comedy at all from the same source as this one. Of course, it's not at all similar. I'm assuming. I'm not sure if it's just an assumption. But if the original author happened to watch it, he might not have liked it so much based on at least what he did in his own life. I'm assuming this was about nearly a century ago now. Apparently, the original author thought it was only alive for, I think, the first adaptation. I think he died late 40s, 1940s, so only the first adaptation, I think, which I haven't seen either, so I cannot really say anything about it. It's kind of ridiculous how some things, have so many adaptations from just a single source, even if they might be slightly differing and such. Obviously, Alice in Wonderland has loads as well. That's something that has loads, but it's slightly more complex, I suppose. I don't know if you could say that, but slightly more imaginative. This is just, well, I guess imagination is involved here, but hmm, uh, yeah, a lot of critics didn't like it apparently, because it's a rehash, which of course it literally is. It's the whole point. It's a remake, but I'm assuming, as I haven't seen the others, I'm assuming though they're all slightly different from each other. So I'm assuming, I think they're not literal remakes. Since it's more like a rehash, I guess, or remix, not so much an absolute sort of remake. But yeah, apparently, Ebert compared it to an early Dustin Hoffman movie that I wasn't even aware existed. I certainly haven't watched the whole catalogue of certain actors and such. I certainly don't go by actors, it's something I do. Um, but yeah, I mainly go by genre, just as I did now. So, comedy would be that genre. I'm just trying not to go into rom-coms specifically right now. They tend to be the most boring of comedies. Whereas, just if you go just in a sort of generic comedic genre, it's still a sort of a hit and miss, but you're not almost certainly guaranteed boredom, as with rom-coms. I mean, like, there might be like very, very few rom-coms that aren't utterly boring and might actually be funny. Very few though. Yeah. But yeah, this wasn't, in my opinion, it was, I mean, effective as a comedy. I'm not sure what else critics expect in some sense, because it's not like, I mean, it wasn't going to be sort of, like a serious commentary about the stock market, right? Obviously, for that, you go to, I mean, to be honest, even just um, there are others at any rate, but it still has some commentary, but not in any sort of economic terms. Obviously, it's not at all in that sense. It's economics is barely mentioned. Not that, I mean, I kind of am interested as well, and that's sort of those sort of that topic generally. I don't exactly watch a whole lot of movies about that. I have watched the likes of Big Short and such all through a long time ago, so I cannot quite recall it very easily. But yes, I mean, I've watched a few sort of series, sort of but, so this is slightly different, yeah. But I mean, I still liked it for whatever it was, it's sort of predictable, it's very, I could easily predict that she was going to be charged with murder, even though it's flimsy at best. Well, I suppose if there was an eyewitness of her being there at night, would be exactly most difficult to have an eyewitness there in the middle of a city. But yeah, I mean, otherwise, it's produced by Disney, right? So obviously, it's going to be, sort of, common denominator sort of comedy, I don't know what else. I mean, it's not like it's the lowest comedy, like it's not the kind that seemingly finds funny, disgusting things, or just really infantile things, or the kind. But so yeah, it's more of a slapstick comedy, isn't it? It's more Charlie Chaplin sort of thing, If Chaplin did anything in the latter half of the century as opposed to the beginning, he was at all still alive. But yeah, that kind of, obviously very, very slapstick sort of, it's what it was. Yeah. I mean, it wasn't always at the beginning. It wasn't so much. It turned into such a thing. The one thing that annoyed me though is, it's like they just, I don't know why they do it. I'm not sure if they still do it, but honestly ruins it. When you have these random cameos, just absolutely random, completely relevant. Like, I don't mind cameos when they're sort of relevant. So like Stan Lee, in Marvel movies. I mean, obviously relevant. He literally was the comic creator, so it's not like it's just just getting cameos solely because the person is supposed to be it's ridiculous, just completely random and just ruins the whole thing. It's like you're in a certain mood, watching a movie, and suddenly something completely relevant happens. I mean, that's the one thing that ruined it for me. I mean, obviously that didn't ruin it totally or anything. Cameos tend to be, come and go, so just very quickly. But just look, why, and it's not even just okay. I mean, I'm not sure if Stan Lee's name is usually mentioned in his movies. I've actually only watched like a couple of movies where he had a cameo, and the one that I do remember, I don't remember the other one. I don't think I even knew he was in the other one, Fantastic Four, when I first watched it. But yeah, I watched Mallrats, and I don't. He was mentioned by name there, so I think he was at least. But as I said, more relevant. So it's kind of ridiculous though, and just it's like I mean, and it kind of is even more ridiculous than like normal. I mean, when it comes to advertising, like when you have, I mean, obviously they mentioned, Hewlett Packard and such, etc. as well, but at least it was integrated in the story, so slightly more relevant, even though it's just advertising ultimately. But other than that, you often have advertising in the background, so it's just products, but at least they don't, aren't explicit about it, like, oh, I'm going to drink a Coke now. I mean, okay, maybe some do, some movies do. I don't think that there was such a thing here, but they did do this, the equivalent, with cameos, and completely irrelevantly, So, anyway, yeah. So, but when it comes to, otherwise, just, I mean, it was slightly longer than most, obviously the average movie is usually an hour and a half. So yeah, this was closer to 2 hours. But it did seem, it didn't seem completely unwarranted. I kind of liked, most minutes, apart from, obviously what I mentioned earlier. So yeah, 2 hours is still 2 hours, but it was still entertaining most of those 2 hours. So so other than that, though, it's I'm not sure what else I watched. Whoopi Goldberg in. Apparently, it's the last movie she was in that she was top billed, apparently. So I'm guessing it was the last movie when she was the protagonist, presumably. But I think she only does daily talking shows now, I think. So yeah. I think I might have, at some point in the far distant past, I might have watched Sister Act, but, well, apart from the random singing, obviously, I don't really remember much else about it, but I don't even remember if I liked it or not, because, it's just, slightly different, isn't it? I mean, this certainly didn't have any singing, so but yeah, other than that, let's see, got a script here and tells me which movies I've seen on an actor's page, without having to remember, because obviously over the years one doesn't remember really much. And script stopped working for a while, I thought, since this site changed its graphical interface. She apparently voiced someone in Toy Story. I wasn't quite aware. Don't even know who Stretch is, actually. Who's Stretch supposed to be? That's not Slinky, is he? No, that's just Slinky. Oh, the octopus. Right. Actually, I'm not even sure I remember an octopus. My cat is currently scaling a huge box. That's what cats do, of course. So that might be the sound that's audible in the distance. So, yeah, I don't quite. Toy Story 3, right? So I'm assuming just Toy Story 3. Yeah, so it seems like it. Yeah, I've watched Toy Story 3 when it first came out, so a decade ago. Just once. Just why I probably don't quite remember it very well. Especially its side characters. So, yeah, don't really remember it. Not sure how you could have a toy in the form of an octopus, considering obviously it's not a real sort of squishy sort of slimy octopus, I'm assuming. It's obviously it would be a plastic. But yeah, I barely remember it at all. I should really watch it again. It's I do remember there was a bear as a villain sort of thing. It's quite highly rated, isn't it? For a Toy Story, I guess. It's because people have nostalgia sort of factor in it, because otherwise it's not really quite different, is it? I mean, it's not really very different from what are the others rated here? Let's see. So it's 90 in the top 50. Yeah. The others, Toy Story 2, no 1 is also rated similarly. Right. It's only Toy Story 2 that isn't rated 0.4 less. What amazes me is Monsters Inc. It's always very highly rated. I mean, I actually watched it. I think when it came out as well. So very long time ago. And I don't think I've watched it again since. It's 2 decades ago now, more than 2 decades. But I don't remember it to be very incredibly entertaining, and one is normally entertained at a certain age, I mean, not normally, As I said, I don't remember it clearly now. Seeing like a like a trailer here without sound seems sort of entertaining, but I don't know. I don't remember it being incredibly entertained. One would think at a certain age that one would be entertained, but I wasn't for some reason. Not sure how I ended up on Monsters Inc. here from whatever it's called, for some reason in my mind I always have The Apprentice. I'm not even sure what I'm thinking of there. Did I actually watch a movie called The Apprentice? Of course. No, it's not. The Associate. Yeah, I don't know why Associate isn't a very. Yeah. Not sure how I ended up on Monsters Inc. from The Apprentice. Apparently, there's the Sorcerer's Apprentice, which I once watched. I don't think I was very entertained with it either, though. To this similar to this, I'm guessing, even though they're different genres, shall we say? But yeah, other than that, I've no idea what else. Anyway, yeah. So I've there's Toy Story 4. I had no idea there's Toy Story 4. I haven't watched it. Really? Seriously, came out in 2019. I don't know. Completely passed me by. Kind of stopped going to the cinema about a decade ago, so I don't exactly keep up with new movies. But yeah, it's funny. There's another one, and no, this time it's not as highly rated. So maybe people. No, wait. No, this is my thesis here. My Toy Story thesis on the Associate commentary. Yes, totally relevant, I know, but yeah, no, because Toy Story 4 is rated even less than Toy Story 2, so that's quite something. But yeah, Toy Story 3 came out 2010, so that's 11 years after the prequel. But then again, no, so maybe no, my thesis isn't quite well. I don't know. 11 years, which is still more than Toy Story 4 came out 9 years then after, which I suppose 11 years is still more than 9, but not that much of a difference, is there? So I don't know. Yeah. Maybe the problem is that if this is the official poster here, they have like a chick and a bunny. So I mean, most people would see that and not even know it's Toy Story, you know, because they're just new characters. I don't even know who they are. So maybe that would be more likely. I don't know how much this poster was used, but that's most likely the reason then that people weren't so much into it. Because other than 4, every other Toy Story had either Woody or Buzz on them, but both. Yeah, they had both. Toy Story 2, in fact, had them, just them. So I guess that doesn't, further make the case that they're the ones specifically that would increase. Anyway, this is so irrelevant to everything. But yeah, I mean, ultimately the assertion isn't quite the most complex of movies or anything. So under normal circumstances, I wouldn't quite go on for so long about it because it's a basic sort of movie. But I got sidetracked. Now, I had no idea she did Lion King 3 as well. I've watched that, although it was some time ago as well. And similarly, I have no idea who Shenzi is. Oh, one of the hyenas. Right. Don't quite very much distinguish between the hyenas, but didn't know they had different names, but yeah. Okay. The third Toy Story, I'm not even sure I can distinguish those, the Lion Kings, I mean. Yeah. There is a difference between, obviously, these two franchises, specifically. Apparently, Lion King 3 is just a retelling of the original story. It's not very, this here says it's 1 1/2, so I'm not sure about the 3 thing, yeah. Yeah, it's really weird, isn't it? I mean, there's quite a difference between 1 1/2 and 3. I guess 1 1/2 would make sense. So, I had no idea she voiced a hyena as well. And, yeah, she really was in a lot of movies. Yeah, a lot. Apparently some movie called Citizen was the original. Never even heard of it, but yeah. So, anyway, yeah, relevant. Muttering really, as I said, Associated is mediocre, but it's still possible, I think, as a comedy,